What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you how I clean a used game console, because I just got this Dreamcast lot off of Craigslist, and it is filthy. So without further ado, let's get to it. It's been quite a while since I've made a video, so I hope you've all been doing well. So let's start with a little backstory here. I bought this whole lot of stuff off of a man on Craigslist who met me on his bicycle in an AutoZone parking lot in the middle of winter. I paid $50 for the whole lot, and he even included this free bonus basket here to carry it all in. So we've got 3 controllers here, a blue VMU, which will match the blue controller I already have quite nicely. It's also in really nice condition. Here's the third controller, and one of the 2 third-party memory packs. I've seen cards like this before, but I've always bought the official versions myself. And finally, the Dreamcast itself. Aside from being absolutely covered in dirt and grime, it seems to be in decent shape, but we'll find out for sure after it's cleaned. I was told it works, so we'll be testing that out a little later as well. Flipping the unit over to the bottom here, we can see this Dreamcast was made February of 2000, so it's newer than my other Dreamcast, which was manufactured August of '99, but it'll still play burned games. The lid seems to raise a little slow, so I may take a look at that later, but then again it still opens, so maybe not. Now onto cleaning. This is a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. We don't need it all, so I'll cut it down a bit with a pair of scissors here, but this is a mildly abrasive foam that I use to clean anything that's plastic and has a matte finish. I do not use it on glossy surfaces though, because it's an abrasive and it'll wear them down to kind of a dull finish. I'll get a close up here so you can see just how bad this Dreamcast is. You can see all these little scuffs and dirt marks here on the lid. These are basically all over this console. So all you do to prep the Magic Eraser is wet it a little. Seriously, wring as much water out of it as you can. It should just barely be damp. Because, fun fact, Dreamcasts are not waterproof. Now, even on camera, after this little bit of scrubbing here, you can probably tell the major improvement the Magic Eraser has made. It picked up a lot of dirt. Now, I'm just going to speed up this video a little bit here as I go over the rest of the system, because even with the power of magic, it still took a while to go over this whole thing. Okay, I'm mostly done with the top now. It's still a bit wet, but you can probably tell there's a major improvement. It seems the grime kind of acted as a protective coating, because this Dreamcast has less yellowing from age than almost any I've ever seen. Now for the rest of the system. The bottom and sides weren't quite as bad as the top, but they still needed good scrubbing. Now, after you've done all this, you'll realize the Magic Erasers aren't particularly absorbent, so you'll often be left with tiny droplets of kind of muddy water. The cure for this is simple though. Just take a damp paper towel and give it a good wipe down. I can't stress this enough, this needs to be damp, not soaked, because it needs to soak up that muddy water. Once that's done, you should have a pretty clean console on the outside. We'll get to the inside later, but for now let's clean off one of these controllers. This one here is the worst one out of all of them that I just got, so we'll do this one for the video. That off-white color it has won't really go away with what we're doing here today. That's from the plastic being stained from the hands of whoever played it for over a decade. I've heard of a few things you can soak it in to get rid of this discoloration, but I've never tried any of them myself. Because controllers have so many nooks and crannies, and controllers of this era are so simple, it's easiest just to disassemble them for cleaning. You can see how the Dreamcast controllers come apart here, but if you've got another system like a PS2, GameCube, Saturn, or Genesis, the process will be very similar. You just have to remove the screws from the bottom and split the 2 halves of the casing. For cleaning, I usually still use the magic eraser, though you could just take the 2 plastic parts over to like a sink and wash them. But I find the magic eraser to be malleable enough to get into almost anywhere, even for the trigger cutouts here. Next, I'm going to unscrew and carefully weasel the PCB out of the controller. The inside of the Dreamcast controllers usually don't get too terribly filthy, and in this case it's mostly just a fine yellowish dust, so I'm just going to wipe that out with the paper towel. Now, if you take a look at this thumbstick, it's been worn completely smooth. Every little grippy nub is completely gone. Now, if you're like me and you happen to have a spare, you can just pop the old one off its shaft and slide the new one on. Before I reassemble, I'm going to gently wipe the PCB down with a damp paper towel. And then disconnect the cord, wrap the magic eraser around it, and go up and down over the whole thing a few times to get all the dirt off the cord. Now for reassembly, plug the cord back in, and then take the VMU guide and slide the PCB between the 2 guide slots here on it. Then do basically everything you did to take it apart in reverse. Also, if you're filming this process, I would advise remembering to refocus your camera, as it makes things a lot sharper. I'd like to take a look at the inside of that Dreamcast before we power it on. So unscrew the 4 screws on the bottom, one is under the modem. Then carefully wiggle the top off. I don't see any glaring issues like a blown capacitor in here, so for now I'm just going to dust it off with this cheap paintbrush. I find these work excellent for dusting electronics, and then once I'm done here, I will reassemble, rescrew, and it'll be good to go. I also got a few games with this slot. The first is Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX. Also, I got a second copy of Crazy Taxi. This is probably the most played game on my Dreamcast. Toy Commander. This is a game I wanted to try for a while now, and it looks really fun. I got a copy of Sonic Adventure. I played the second game all the way through, but never the first, so this is definitely nice to have. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, who didn't have this game in the early 2000s. Unfortunately, this copy here is cracked, so I doubt it's going to work very well. And finally, the whole reason I bought this lot, Power Stone 2. I have a burned copy of Power Stone 2, but I've always wanted an original. The blue and the black and the silver discs look so neat, and this game alone is worth more than what I paid for the entire lot. And even though the back does have quite a few scratches on it, it seems to play perfectly. And so does the Dreamcast, by the way. All of this stuff has worked absolutely great for me. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I should be getting into more of a regular uploading schedule now again. If you liked the video, please hit like, get subscribed, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.